we're back. Hey everybody, it's the first week of November. This is episode 194. I'm your host, Darren Carter, the party starter, and Mike Black is my guest. We talk Devil's Night, The Crow, my trip to La Jolla, Ruth Chris versus Dairy Queen, Starbucks inside Vaughn's, lessons from Shakespeare that could apply to today, having a bad set in front of 1,500 people, wishing wells, Andrew Dice Clay, corn mazes, Bobby Lee, how to stand out in this business, businesses that cut corners, and 3 things that make us happy, and much, much more. Now let's start that party in your ear holes.
Pocket party.
It's November. We're going to call Mike Black. And remember, if you want to help out the show, very easy way to do, go to YouTube, leave some comments on some of my YouTube videos on Darren Carter.
Hello?
Hello, is this the one and only Mike Black?
Yes, it is. And who am I speaking with?
You are speaking with Darren Carter, the party starter.
More like Darren Carter, the party restarter. This is our third take.
I know. Man, I hope this is, I hope I just messed up the first time. And luckily we caught it 12 seconds in. So it wasn't like an entire great golden, like, that was awesome. Right. You look down.
Well, I demand to be paid triple.
Exactly. Oh my God. This is hazard
3 times pay. What I'm paid.
This is hazard pay. It's a Saturday. It's
yeah.
So we're actually recording this on Halloween, but the people will hear it in November and beyond. But I just want to say Happy Halloween.
You too. We're technically, if you want to get technical about it, we are recording it on October 30th.
Oh, you're right.
Devil's Night from the film The Crow. I don't know if you recall.
Tell us.
That was the night that Eric DeRaven and his young bride were wed. Also, the same night, unfortunately, that they were evicted from their apartment in Detroit. And it didn't work out. They were both killed. And then every Devil's Night, he can return from the grave and avenge their death on their killers.
Wow, and that's like a Detroit thing.
In the film, it says that it was like a Detroit tradition, and I think it's kind of become one, whether or not that was true since.
I was going to say, when I hear Devil's Night, I do think of Detroit. I think of like Eminem. I think of people messing around,
The idea is just starting a bunch of fires and chaos and stuff like that. And the film... Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I don't know, there was a technical glitch. I won't do that again.
It's too late.
Too late. Yeah, I don't know, it was weird. I touched some wire and like somehow... Okay, I'm just going to keep my hands away from the wires. I'm sorry, what...
I don't know.
Yeah. What is happening?
Why I bother?
I know.
Why do I bother waking up?
Well, I'm at a hotel in La Jolla because I'm doing the Comedy Store down here, and so I don't have my normal situation going on, and I'm like, oh, that thing looks like it's not plugged in all the way. And then when I went to like plug it in all the way, all of a sudden,
it all goes wrong.
I know. I was like, wait, exactly. Like, I'm like, where did Mike go? But I could still hear you. But
La Jolla's kind of like that too. I've had a lot of technical difficulty when I've been there.
It's funny. I want to really explore the town because my only experience with pretty much with the Comedy Store is I knew I would go in one particular way, and then I'd park there, and then I'd leave at night, and so I don't really know. I don't know La Jolla during the day very well. And I for sure don't know anything other than that Vaughn's parking lot and the Comedy Store and maybe like a block or 2 away. That's all I know.
Right. That's pretty much what I know is that area surrounding the Comedy Store, which is kind of beachfront-ish, but it's a big, wide mix of economic levels, where like one direction there'll be a bunch of like people eating lobster. And then you look like 5 feet over, and it'll be like a bunch of homeless kids that took over a dumpster.
Right. Yeah.
They like made it into like a lair to live in.
Yeah. It's like Clancy's Shoe Repair. Then, like you said, then you go like a block away, and it's like fine dining, Pilates, Lamborghini sale. I mean, it's just like, what the heck?
They have like a really, really super old Dairy Queen. and right next to it'll be like a Ruth Chris or something like that.
Exactly. I know. Like I walked from the hotel down there and I just did it again. And I'm thinking, because I wanted to get like a good coffee, before the show. I didn't want to just have the hotel coffee. And
Yeah.
and I knew for a fact there'd be coffee inside of the Vons. There's a Starbucks there, but I'm thinking, I'm in La Jolla. I'm sure there's going to be some overpriced, elegant coffee shop. I'm like, let me just have something. And lo and behold, I couldn't find anything, and I was running out of time, so I just went straight to that Von Starbucks. And man, that guy, man, it really tested my patience. It was, you know when you know you're getting poor service, but then you're like, I'm going to be the better person and just smile and not say a word.
I've heard of those
Yeah,
people that do that.
man, yeah, he was the guy with like, I was standing there and he's like making everyone's drinks and then making me wait. And so I order, and then when it was my turn to get my drink made, he just continued like helping people behind, and I'm sitting there going, "What the fuck?" It's like, dude, like it's a simple thing. I just want a coffee. It's like you literally just turn around, you pour it in the cup, and then hand it to me, and then I leave. It's like, gosh, nothing fancy, nothing double pump this, double pump that, but
That's the problem. Darren, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
I know, right? I kept saying thank you and thank you so much,
Yeah.
thank you. Hey, have a great day.
What-
And I was like, man, maybe I'm too polite or something, but
That's exactly it. Everyone goes, that guy isn't going to be a problem.
right.
I can push him to the back of the line 6 more times.
I know.
He'll still, as soon as I give him his coffee, he'll go, "Thank you very much, sir," and then he'll
I know.
tip me like $10.
I know. Appreciate you. Have a blessed day, sir. I was like, I literally was probably there like, and also like maybe like 11 minutes, but no big deal because at the same time I was looking at my phone going, how come this isn't refreshing? So I turn my phone off, turn it back on. So I was having phone problems. I think it's because of the signal, because we're near the ocean. So
The guy making your coffee was like, he'll probably even mention me on his podcast.
exactly. Maybe I'll get a shout out on this.
What a
Shout out to
chump.
the Starbucks barista. I felt bad for him though, man, because this guy had like, not only did he was wearing glasses and then he wore a mask, so those kind of like can fog up. So you know, I mean, I was just thinking like it's almost like his head was in a wrap because he had the mask, the glasses, and then he had a hairnet. He had to wear like a hairnet.
Oh God!
Which I never seen a Starbucks person wear a hairnet. He had like a hairnet, the glasses, the mask. It was almost like his head was encased, and I was like, I mean, I would just be like, it's like claustrophobic almost. I mean, I'm thinking it'd be one thing if you did it for maybe like a very short amount of time, but I can't imagine like.
Yeah, I don't know if employees realize how much power they've got right now, where he could kind of just go, screw all that. I guess get someone else to make their coffee, and their boss would be like, no, whoa, we'll figure something out,
Yeah, because his hair was kind of short too. That was, well, I mean, at least it looked like it underneath the hairnet, but
yeah, I'd be like, you got to give me some open space here.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna dip my dreadlocks into their coffee or whatever.
Right.
Just,
I know.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And the more I kept saying thank you, and I kept not hearing you're welcome or no problem or I was just, I didn't notice it at first. And then after about the 4th time or whatever, I was like, you know what? That's okay. I'm just like, he's just not the kind of person that says, anything back when someone says thank you.
Yeah. I think that's a thing that happens to a lot of people, that they take that sort of stuff personally, and it's like it may have nothing to do with you. They may just not have been raised to do that,
Right?
And also I think in a situation like that too, sometimes they may think you're being sarcastic when you're being nice,
Right. Thank you.
And it's like better to just not say anything than say what I'm thinking right
Exactly.
now.
I have a friend. He's from the South. He always calls me sir. Hello, sir. How are you, sir? Good day, sir.
Yeah.
And I just realized it's probably because he's from the South.
Yeah, I'll say it a lot of times when a conversation starts, and it's just like as a polite thing to do, uh, or if someone really does something great, I'll go, thank you, sir, or something like that,
Yeah.
but nobody ever
I'm,
does.
I'm going to keep bringing it back, man. I'm going to keep bringing it back. Let's just, I'm going to figure out some more polite, nice things to do just to kind of,
Well, it's funny. I was
yeah.
thinking about exactly this thing, how, like, uh, in a lot of Shakespeare, not all of it, but a lot of it, when let's say you just ran into a friend that you hadn't seen in a day or two, not even a whole very long time, just like a day.
Yeah.
Like if I ran into you and there was anyone else around, I would say something like, "There's humorous Darren Carter,"
Oh.
or "gentle Darren Carter," or something like that. Polite Darren Carter. They would say like a complimentive descriptor.
There's the funniest guy in the world, Mike Black.
And your name. Well, no, just like a one word that was just like a complimentary descriptor. Like in Hamlet, there's one where he meets Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, these two messengers that are sent to him, and he goes, "There's wise Rosencrantz and gentle Guildenstern," and that's just a thing that they did. That it was like, it immediately said to everyone else in the room that they knew them to a level where they knew like a positive thing about them.
Oh. You know what? I think that in a roundabout way that happened to me at the boxing gym the other day. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but I saw a guy and hadn't seen him in the same thing, couple of days, and he was like, "Hey, when's he said something complimentary," and then he turned to his friend. He goes, "He's a comedian." I don't know if that's the same thing, but it was basically
it's not quite the same thing, but I think it's the modern equivalent of it.
Yeah, and he said it with a smile, like hey, this guy's a comedian. You got to go see his show. Like it was like that kind of thing, as opposed to, this guy's a comedian. Like,
yeah. Well, like I did over at Flappers. I was introducing one of the waitresses that I knew to a friend of mine, and I said, "This is so and so. She's a really funny comedian." And then I said back, "He's really funny too,"
Mm-hmm.
And they were both so glad that I did that like she actually said, "I really like the way you introduced me." Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Like, because she was so used to people just, this is so and so.
Yeah.
And then you just, well, that's so and so. I guess eventually I'll figure out what their deal is.
You know what I did that didn't cost me anything, or it's just a nice thing to do. I felt good. I'm going to keep doing this if I can. Is I gave two of the local comedians last night. I'm headlining at the Comedy Store in La Jolla, so I gave two of the local, like the doorman, the guy. I gave them like time on my show. I said, "You guys, please do time. You bring me up." And then I go, and you go, "You want to come back up?" And he goes, can I split the?" I go, "Yeah, absolutely." So I let another guy, and both those guys were so grateful, because I remember what it was like to want to get on stage on a weekend and you couldn't.
Yeah.
So, and I thought it's nothing. And if there was a third comic there, I would have been like, "You go on too. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. It's not like my show's going to do worse because,
Yeah, it's like if you're in a position where they'll let you do that, definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I think that's a very cool thing to do.
Right.
Unless they're terrible.
Yeah, that's true. I figured, well, these guys are, regular. They perform there all the time.
Yeah, if they're letting them work the door, they're probably not. But like, and you can always, "Hey, you're terrible. Get off. Get off
exactly.
The stage. I didn't know you were terrible. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Everyone, I didn't realize how not funny he is.
Yeah. No,
we're gonna try this next guy, and hopefully he'll be a little better.
Yeah, and I think
can't be any worse. So.
And I think the middle act was at that he was only doing like 20. So I'm like, well, there's no problem there if the first guy's doing 5, the middle's doing 20. I mean, come on. The only time I could get into a thing is if the booker puts on way too many comedians, and now you're, now
I remember
it's like an hour and a half before you get on stage, and you're like, damn, these people are tired. Can we like speed up the show before I get up there?
You must have played Fourth and B.
Yeah, I did.
When that was a thing. You remember Dutch?
Yeah, tell the audience about this. Or I'll tell them it's a 1,500 seat auditorium, in San Diego. So
great venue.
And it gives you that feeling of like, wow, what would it like to perform at in an indoor arena? It's amazing. The only problem,
Right.
the only problem is that they give out 1,500 free tickets. Probably give out 30,000, but they probably give out 30 to 40,000 tickets, but 1,500 show up. So yeah, so it's a great feeling. But just remember, anybody can leave anytime they want. But
yeah, but they really pack it out and they do their best, and it's a young, feisty sort of crowd because they got in free,
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're still doing it there, but they were at the time. And the guy running the thing, or at least the backstage, was a dude named Dutch, who was kind of like Rowdy Roddy Piper-esque.
Yeah.
And very intense, very big and intense and intimidating. And I won't say the other comics on the show's name because neither of them are painted in a very good light in this story.
Yeah.
But I was pretty new still, and I had about 20 minutes that was shaky. It was just, if I really cobbled it all together, I had about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they had me host, and it's done in a really weird way there, which I had not experienced before, where they would have you do 10 minutes up front, and then you would bring up the middle act. Then there would be a little break. Then you would do another 10 minutes after the break and bring up the headline. That was how the show went, And so I was like, I'm just barely scraping by enough material to do this, but I can do it, And so I bring up the middle, and he's a young comic and a nice guy, and he does fine. And then we have the break. I do my next 10. I bring up the headliner, and it didn't dawn on me until he'd been up there a while that he's a much older guy and not very hip. Like, his entire act was about a road trip with his family.
Oh yeah.
And these are all like young, punk kids. They don't want to hear this stuff. They can go home and look at their parents if they want to hear this sort of stuff, And I'm backstage, and one of my friends came to visit, and we were drinking, and at one point my instincts kicked in, and I was like, shh, hang on just a sec. And they go, what's the matter? And I go, it's totally quiet out there. That's not good. So I went out over by the bar to watch what was happening, and the guy was just powering through his set for 45 minutes of not funny.
He's like, and then you're in the minivan and 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Are you with me on this?
He gets to his closer, and you just hear, boo, boo. Then other people get empowered, boo. They're all boo, boo. Oh my God. And so Dutch comes backstage, and he goes, we ain't closing out like that. And it's me and the other the feature act sitting there, and he's got his finger raised up that he's about to pick one of us. And I'm like, oh God, don't let it be me. Don't let it be me. I'm out of material. And he kind of sees that on my face, so he points at the other guy, and he goes, do 5 more minutes and close it out strong.
Oh,
and
no.
so the guy's like, and he looks at me like, I don't have any more time either. And I just kind of shrug at him like, dude, he pointed at you. It's not mine.
I ain't going out there.
I don't know what to tell you. Duchess rules here. And so he kind of goes back on stage like he's going to an execution. And literally people are still booing as he's coming back on stage.
Yeah.
So he goes, he does an admirable job. He goes, so that was interesting, and everyone kind of laughs at that. And then he goes, some guy yells out, I'm funnier than all 3 of you F-bombs, and so he goes, well, why don't you come up here and
no.
So the guy comes up, and he tells some, stupid, why is 6 afraid of 7 sort of joke.
7, 8, 9.
Exactly, but it gets a laugh.
So
the kid very wisely goes, okay, that was awesome, sir. Great job. That's our show. And so, you know, it, it gets like a good clap and everyone's happy and they start to leave. And we think it's all over and we're like, good job, buddy. Great work or whatever. Dutch practically rips the door off its hinges when he comes backstage. And he goes, what if that guy got electrocuted on my stage? What if he fell off the stage and sued me for $1 million? Do you have $1 million?
Oh, man.
What if that guy said something racial and started a race war in my club and got everyone killed? Where would you be then, you idiot? You're lucky I'm even paying your ass tonight. And he like slams the door behind him.
Yeah.
The kid burst into tears.
Wow.
In front of all of us. Like, he's still pretty like new too, you know.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, yeah, am I gonna get? He goes, am I gonna get blacklisted now? And I was like, oh no, this happens to everybody. Like, I was like, oh, this happens all the time. And my friend looked at me like, does it happen all the time? I was like, this has never ever happened before. I've never seen anything like this. That is horrible.
And it's not like there's like a whole chain of 4th and B comedy club arenas that you're banned from. It's like there's just that one. So
yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure he never worked there again. And I think I worked there one more time, but I think Dutch just kind of remembered the whole thing, and I didn't work there a lot after that.
How do you like the show so far? Pretty good, right? By the way, here I am acting with John Travolta in the movie Be Cool. Check it out. If you like the show and you want to show your support, every little bit helps. Go to DarrenCarter.com. I'm on PayPal or Venmo at Darren Carter Comic on Venmo. Also, I'm available on CAMEO. All right, let's get back into the show. Oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I have a pleasant memory of well, I have a couple. I remember, and I think looking back, it was probably just.
It is overall like my memories there are great.
It's great.
It's a very top-notch club, and I had a lot of fun. And I really, really wish I'd had a phone like I have now, and could have taken a picture of me playing in front of that sort of crowd, because it looks epic, you know.
And it'd be interesting to see, right? Like to do it now. I bet you'd play it totally different now that you're experienced and seasoned. And
oh, absolutely, that wouldn't have even been an issue now. Like, oh, the headliner didn't bring the goods. I'll just go back up and do 5 more, and then that'll be it. You know.
I know.
We'll still sell his T-shirts. I'll tell everyone he has cancer or something, and it'll, you know.
Guys, you know, I know a guy that would wear like combat boots and bring up a camouflage backpack, and then at the end he would sell his merch and talk about how like he donates a portion to the troops. And like, I don't know if he did or not, but I just thought that's kind of clever. Like,
there are a lot of people that I'm like, are you really doing that? And I gave half of my sandwich to a homeless veteran, so that's
exactly the.
Okay.
Oh, I had a guy say something funny once when he was selling merch. What did he say? He goes, "Hey guys, I'm selling T-shirts and DVDs or whatever." And he goes, "And if you don't want, you can just donate. Just don't throw any quarters at me. I'm not the fountain at the mall." I thought that's kind of funny. Like, you know.
Funny enough, I would take the quarters myself.
Exactly, I'll take the quarters. I am a fountain at the mall.
Yeah, you can make a wish on me. I don't know if it'll work, but you know.
Yeah, I saw a guy that was on stage and he was just
the easy burn on that would be throw a quarter at you and go, "I wish you were funnier."
Here's my wish. I wish you were funnier.
Yeah.
Clang. Yeah. I remember a guy who actually had a television show at the time, or it was right around that time, and he I don't know if it was before or after, but I know he was on stage, and I'll tell you who it was afterwards. And I remember almost the entire audience walked out and left because he was like low energy and he was the end of the night, and
oh yeah,
he didn't really give a damn. He probably didn't give a damn because he knew he had like, you know, $1 million in the bank, and it was just like a, you know, he had a TV show on the horizon. But
yeah, there's a lot to constructing a show. I learned that from, I used to run a little show in Santa Monica that was like kind of a mix between a bringer and like if you were famous you could just go on, that sort of show. And we had a good mix of both usually. But you learn that there's a reason for that 3-act structure for any show, and that ideally it should build. It should start out with someone who's pretty funny, but kind of like squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And that's why they put so much emphasis for young comics on being clean, because it gets you more work. And, and they have to do all the setting the house, of like finding out if there's birthdays and making sure everyone knows not to record and take pictures and stuff like that. And then that middle act, their job is really to kind of set the tone of the night of like, let's say you've got someone. I worked with, at the time, probably definitely one of the best clean comics and one of the best dirty comics. And I was the middle act for both for about 3 years. One was John Panette, the other was Andrew Dice Clay. And what I realized my job was to set the table either way. Where if it was for John, I wanted to do a bunch of clean material and just kind of lightly touch on food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And kind of just barely kind of dance into that sort of area. And then with Dice, I was supposed to like be a little bit dirty and kind of end with like a solid dirty joke.
Yeah.
That would kind of just like let the audience kind of know what they're getting into, either way. And then the headliner is supposed to really deliver whatever that is, whatever promise the middle guy made, they would fully deliver on. And that would make the show just continually build right to the end.
You know what?
And then everyone leaves like, yeah, that was exactly what I wanted, even if it wasn't what they came in for.
You know what's funny is I realize I already knew this, but it's just very apparent because I did some gigs this week that, some comics probably, they might turn down. Like I did a gig that was on a pier down in Redondo Beach, and it was, so basically you got people that are like day drinking and they're really sloshed. But, and you got, there was 2 attractive women that walked in about 3 minutes into my show and sat right in the front and constantly wanted to interact with me. Like if I brought up something, and then they just kept pulling focus. But here's the thing. I realized all that stuff does is it's stuff that some comics don't want to do. But guess what? It really keeps developing those muscles, and you get really, it just keeps you sharp. So you're not like veal where you're put away and then all of a sudden, okay, it's your turn, get out there, entertain, because like, guess what? Because last night there was a party bus that came down from Orange County, and guess what? There was about 18 people who'd been, they were really rowdy, and they were, the security had to tell them to quiet down during the middle act. So by the time I got up there, I'd already, I had an experience with that like earlier that week, like. You know what I mean? You know how to do it with finesse and get it going. And it works in your favor, and you don't look like a jerk, and it's not like, get out of here. It's not none of that. It's just like, it was fun. Like one guy fell asleep, right? This one guy was asleep. He nodded off, and I'm like, oh, look, there's their bus driver. Stuff like that. And then and there's a thing that, it's really popular that comedians have figured out. It's like a clickbait sort of thing on YouTube. And they'll put and the title of the video will be "Comedian Destroys Heckler," and so I sort of play that off because I did my normal self, unless I'm really angry, but my normal self, which is still nice and in a nice way. And so, like with those girls, I said something, but I got her really good, but then I still said, I still gave her good, you know what I mean? And so then I made
you can still build them back up and make them not want to leave because.
I got to tell you this punchline though, because I used it again in San Diego when I said, I go, is anybody filming this? Get me out there on the internet, guys. I go, I wanted there to be a video. A comedian destroys heckler with kindness. With kindness, guys. It was hilarious.
And it's like, the thing is, you can look at it. I've noticed a lot of comedians, there are really 2 ways to look at when that happened. You get 18 drunk people come in and they start a bunch of stuff. This is my show. I control it. I'm not going to put up with anything like that. And I'm going to set an example. And I'm going to have these people kicked out.
Yeah.
That's one way of handling it. The other way is realizing it's kind of my show.
Yeah.
But there's also a waitress that has a party of 18.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal for her. You know, if they're all drinking and if they're all like, if any of them are having food or anything like that, that's a pretty big tip, you know, and a pretty big just amount of food to sell and stuff like that, you know. If I kick them out, they may pay that and they may not. You know, they may just like fight with the club and go, we're not paying, we got kicked out, you know. So it would be better if I can keep them here and kind of salvage it and make it work.
Yeah.
You know?
I think what worked in my favor is because that the middle act, I forget his name right now. He was great, really good. And but when when they were, you know, interacting with him and the security, I think the more rowdy of the group, like the 3 or 4 that were too drunk, I think those people left. So then I still had rowdy people, but not the rowdiest. You know,
right?
So it was a lot easier for me.
Yeah, you don't want to put anyone in danger either. You don't want, like if people are really rowdy and you can tell, get them out of there for sure.
Yeah, it was man, it was definitely fun. Like, there's something great about when you have a lot of time to play on stage. Like, there's not really a time limit. At least, I mean, the time limit is like 45 to an hour, but. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could really, really go into those. Like, I've been just developing this whole bit about going to the pumpkin patch and the corn maze, and I just love the silliness of it. And I also, I want to learn from, like, you know, Richard Jenny or these guys that would just like take the meat off the bone and really strip down the ideas. Because I've touched the surface and I've gone deeper with it. Now I'm realizing that I could even go deeper with this, and it's such a fun topic. That's like, you know. We went to a corn maze a couple of weeks ago after I had already, you know, I've worked on this bit, and I thought, let me just take some mental notes of what really happens. And it's hilarious because people can relate to that. Like, there was a group of people in the audience last night, and so I brought up the part about how, you know, I asked this, she goes, we went to a corn maze, and she shakes her head like, oh, it was, like, you had a bad experience? She's like, yeah, we were in there for maybe 2 minutes, and we were like, we don't want to do this anymore. This isn't that fun. We're just, I go, what was not fun about it? And she's like, we were just getting lost. Like, it was frustrating. And I was like, isn't that kind of the point? You know, but then I have a joke about that where I say, next year, I think we're going to save money and just go to the mall, give our car keys to a stranger, and, you know, like, don't tell us where you parked it, you know. So I'm like, and then the guy made it. So I noticed when I was at the corn maze that when people first enter, they're super giddy and excited. Like, the kids are giggling. The mom has oranges, little snacks. The dad has the backpack over both shoulders. He's like, oh, right, family adventure. But then I really want to, you know, do it in a super funny way because it's not quite there yet. But I want to talk about how, like, about a half hour in, you're seeing the map that they give you. I'm seeing it all over the ground. Like, people have just ripped it into like confetti, and they're just frustrated. The kids are crying. The mom is like, I should have never let you lead, Herman. You think you know it all. You don't know your, you know. And you know, the guy's dragging the backpack like, this is bullshit. I should have never married you. And just, you know,
I'm the one who paid $48 a head to get in here.
Yeah, exactly. You ruined my life. Like, it just, I don't know. There's something funny about that. The idea of, like, you know what I mean? Like, you start out super, and then that guy, the boyfriend in the audience, he yelled out because I go, I said, here's what I said. I go, well, you guys, you're still here, so you guys survived a corn maze. That's a good thing. And then the guy goes, yeah, but it was a silent ride home. And I'm like, dude, I'm using that tomorrow. Because I want to do that where, like, on the way to the corn maze with the anticipation, you got like the pumpkin spice latte, you got the scary tunes playing on the radio, you know. I was working in the lab late one night, you know, all that stuff. Thriller.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's like in a great mood. They're all chatting with each other.
Yeah. Oh,
what do you think your favorite part of the corn maze is going to be?
Yeah. I have a line I'm going to throw in there. I don't know where to put it yet, but I basically said a corn maze. It's like an outdoor IKEA. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have to remember that. Yeah. You know, the way to, how confusing that can be. But
where do I buy this?
Yeah. Oh, and then I came up with another premise last night about the. There's always that. I go, did you complain to anybody? Like, did you? And she's like, no. I go, the corn maze we went to. There was she was like a Karen of the corn maze. She's like, this is not fun. I want to speak to the corn maze manager. Like, which is so stupid.
I don't think that exists, lady.
I know. She's like, yeah, chewing out like a scarecrow or something. But
I think this is how Children of the Corn got started. Is people lost a lot of their kids in the corn maze. They just stayed there forever.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I could have her say something funny like, like, this is not a field of dreams. This is a, something of nightmares, or I don't know, something.
Field of nightmares, yeah.
Yeah, field of nightmares. But when I said Karen, that reminded me of another. It was kind of cool because I could go off on a sidetrack of the Karen, and then I could go back to the corn maze, and all the Karen thing is well, there's a couple, but the idea that I'm taking the position of I feel bad if you're here and your name is Karen, because it's just your name. You had nothing, it's like all of a sudden your name becomes this, I go, listen, and honestly, I tell the audience, I go, I'm kind of selfish because Karen, one letter over the male version could easily be Darren's, and I'm like, and then I go right into a character. I'm like, my name's Karen and I want to speak to the manager, and I'm Darren and I want to speak to the assistant manager, and then, I don't know, what I mean? It's like, and then they did some stuff with that, and then I went back to the corn maze, and man, I wrote a bunch of corn puns. But it works. And do you do any puns in your comedy?
No,
you don't.
No, it's considered the lowest form of humor.
Well, I'm just now discovering it, and
they're amazing.
They're amazing. No, I'm going to end my career with puns, and then bringing people up on stage to tell street jokes.
Yeah.
And then having Dutch yell at me like 20 years later, I'm not even in the business, but you could have got that guy electrocuted.
Yeah. We're going to start with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
We're going to middle with Bill Hicks, and then we're going to end with Emo Phillips.
Yeah.
It's not the way to do a show.
Yeah. But when you do puns, I was going to say, there's a way to do it where if you do it, I've done it the wrong way. And for me personally, I think when I've done it the wrong way, it's when I rush it, when I do them too fast, because then people start groaning. Like they're like, oh, ooh, oh.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. I have to slow it down. Here's what I found. Do the first type of pun. And when however they react, I pause and I go, it's going to get worse. And then I go back to the thing. When I tell them it's going to get worse, it lets them know that I'm in on the joke. But then people start kind of they're into it. They want to hear more. And then I'm like, damn, I got to write more. So, here, I'll give you one of them. I said, you feel like it's an accomplishment when you finally make your way out of that corn maze. You feel like I've achieved something, and it's great. I go, your friends are there to, they have their cameras ready. They're at the exit. They're like, congratulations, So I got my Jewish friends are like Mazel Tov, So I throw in those two puns, but I don't really do the nod that it's going to get stupid yet until I tell the part about there was a couple on the news that called 911. I guess they got so lost in the corn maze that they called 911 or whatever. So then I acted out, right? Where she's like, 911, what's your emergency? And she's like, we're trapped. We're at Mr. Pickle's pumpkin patch. Go, we're in a corn maze. And no, it's not amazing. Right there. No, it's not amazing. And that's where they go, oh. And I go, it's going to get worse. And then I throw in a bunch. We're from Silicon Valley. My boyfriend Cornelius, he has cornrows. We feel like we're being stalked. All that stuff. And then it's like,
his father, the colonel, is searching for it.
Oh, yeah. So for that one, I say, is this the cops? Or no, I say cops. I go, may I speak to the colonel? Yeah, I say the colonel. And then, what else do I have in there? The colonel. And then at the end, I go, that joke was corny. And then they laugh because I admit it. And I go, even though it was still corny? No, I go, even though it was corny, it still popped. And
when people laugh at that, you go, shucks.
Shucks. Yeah. I could say the shucks. I usually use that when I say that they're on their way to save them from the corn maze because they can't find their way out of the cornhole, But
That sounds dirty.
I know, exactly. I'm ruining your Saturday with puns. Hey, want to do my podcast? I'm just going to do puns, and you're just going to listen.
Yeah.
We're going to start out with you telling these great stories, and then we're going to end it with puns.
And then I'm going to punish you.
When I see you, Darren, I'm going to punish you. Yeah. Dude, what if my merch was like corn at the end of the night? Like, I literally sell corn.
I won't stop you. You can you can do that.
You can try to sell corn. Yeah, I stop at the local grocery store. Listen, I'm a comic. I'm in town. I need to. Did you ever do that where you'd go?
It's funny that I know someone who has a great bit about selling corn. Like, you know, when you think about it, it's like I must have been doing this a really long time. If I know someone, if I can hear that and go, oh, I know someone who has a really great bit about selling corn.
Yeah. Is it Bobby Lee?
It is Bobby
That's
Lee.
right. Gosh, does he still do that?
Every now and again.
That's a great bit. I remember. It was years ago. I did a show with them, and I wonder how that bit developed because it was funny back then. I can only imagine.
I think his dad actually tried to get him to do that to make money.
That's funny. No, but I mean, it was
like a paper route.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. They, you know what I was?
You must yell corn.
Yeah. Really? See, I got when I say develop, I wonder because it was funny when I saw it back then. I could only imagine like how he's like tagged it and made it tighter over the years. Like,
yeah.
When I saw him do it, it was probably just the beginnings of those days.
Yeah.
When cars are driving by, corn or whatever.
That guy, I'm sure his fans already know it, but if you don't know, and Bobby Lee comes to your town and you have the opportunity to see him live, don't pass it up. That dude is hilarious live. You gotta go if you get a chance to see him.
He's such, you know what, man? That's what somebody asked me the other day. This lady came to the show and she didn't mean it in a mean way at all, but because she was a fan. She was like, she bought one of my albums years ago and she just had that look like, she's like, you're so funny. Oh my God. How come you haven't like made it bigger? Like, why aren't you're so like, there's people that are bigger and like more well-known, no disrespect, but like, I mean, is it something you want? Do you want to be big? She was just like, it was all
the questionable career choices you've made.
Exactly. It was like, she was like, "Oh my God, you were so funny. I don't understand."
Do you get frustrated that you're not?
Exactly. It turned into one of those things, you know, where you're like,
"Yeah,
thank you, appreciate it, thank you." And then some random old guy, I think he wants to be a comedian or something. He was talking to her for a while, but he said some analogy that was kind of interesting that I've kind of been thinking about. He talked about. He's like, he goes, the way I look at it in this business, I look at these bricks. And he looks down at the bricks, right? There were some bricks on where the sidewalk would be. We were on a cobblestone area. And he goes, see, they're all basically the same. Now, the one that stands out is that round brick right there. So I think you got to be a round brick. And he said something like that. And I thought, So when
this
you
say,
yeah.
Perfect time to push him into trap.
Exactly. You're a flat brick, old man. Beat it, Grandpa. Like, yeah. But when you
stop about your brakes, you old fart.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you kick hit bricks, asshole. No, but like when you
that would be the worst, to kill him and give him a pun at the same time.
Exactly. And then I do get world famous. Hey, it worked.
Yeah. The last thing he hears is a terrible pun before he's run over.
I know. Oh yeah, that would be my song. Then he's a brick house.
That's like how a Batman villain kills people.
Yeah. But when he said that, now I'm thinking of cases that are. So listen, Bobby Lee, he stands out. He's not a regular rectangle brick. He has different hair. That's right. He's Korean. He's shorter. He has wild hairstyle. Besides. So
you're saying be Korean?
Yeah, but I mean, he's. You know what I mean? On top of the being funny, there's those other elements. Well, there's also like Mad TV, but you know what I mean. But still, it's like,
that helps.
Yeah. I was thinking about that, like with Theo Von. I just saw his Netflix special, like. He's got that, like, once again, he's got like the hairstyle, like from the surface, it's like it looks different. And then he's doing like, his style is like a Southern kind of thing, and not really seeing that right now. That's kind of standing out. And I don't know. You're starting to look at like
Well, you've got a
Yeah.
flashlight.
I know. Maybe I need to.
That's a thing.
A thing, right? I'm hoping I'm standing out. I'm not really, but maybe I could stand out even more, like with everything, like this podcast. Like this is
Like have it
yeah,
implanted.
an implanted flashlight. Yeah, dude. See, that's good. People should partner with you, and because you watch
If you're the first cybernetic comic,
the cyber. I'm a round brick. Please, yeah.
Darren,
Please, more than 9 people appear at my audiences, my shows.
Darren Carter, the cyborg party starter.
Yeah, yeah. See, one's a flashlight, and the other eye is a laser beam, and
Yeah.
I'm huge with cats.
And then if someone heckles you, you can just fire a laser at them and just vaporize them.
Yeah.
They're done. No one's gonna heckle after that.
Yeah. I mean, are there any comedians that don't stand out that are very successful? I don't think so, right? Like you.
Actually, there are
Or are
quite
there?
a few.
Oh, good, because I'm sick of that stupid brick analogy, but it's been stuck in my head for a week.
I mean, like if you look at like all of the leads on sitcoms are that type of comic, the ones that don't stick out.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. No,
They're
see,
just-
I think with acting, you're right. They're
just very basic guys.
yeah.
And so it's
yeah.
great if that's what your goal is, to get into like sitcoms or something like that. It actually, sitcoms are great for both. For there's the guy who is the center of the storm, the lead on the show, that's supposed to be the normal person's way in,
Jerry Seinfeld on Seinfeld,
right? And then there's the other guys that are on the like fringe, that are the weirdo sort of comics and more character actor-y types, like Andy Kaufman and those kind of guys that fill out those other roles of the people for them to react off of.
Yeah.
Like Taxi is really a perfect example of a sitcom, of the main character and a couple of the other characters are very straight, very nondescript almost, and then everybody else around them are just wacky lunatics, and so the lunatic gets a big laugh from being a lunatic, and then the other guy gets a big laugh off of his reaction to it, or like Golden Girls, B. Arthur. The rest of them were all nuts, and B. Arthur was like the sane one, but she would have some sort of line that would just level them after she'd let them be crazy for a little bit, and then she would just drop the hammer, and you knew it was going to be funny whatever she said, but it was just amazing to hear it. It's basically the straight man and the punch guy, and but yeah, some of that stuff, when it's done right, I think I don't think it is like Bricks at all. Not really. I think it's more like the Plunko game. Do you remember that game?
Tell us about that. I kind of do, but I might be thinking of something different. Is that the thing where it goes up and then it like shoots in ladders? You go up and then you got to.
Don't guess, because it insults me.
Okay, Plunko. you're like it's from Shakespeare, Darren. Once again,
you're so stupid, Darren. It's not none of those things at all that you're describing.
Yeah.
No. What it is it was on The Price is Right. And it was one of those like little games that they would play in between to give people a chance at money. And it was a case, like a thin sort of case that had a bunch of little like pegs on a board. And at the very bottom, there were all these slots. And one of them was like $1,000. One of them was like,
oh yes, I can. And so the thing starts at the top and it goes doo, 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 and it doesn't really stay in its lane.
Bounce off of the different pegs, and so you never really knew exactly where it was going to land. You knew it would land in one of those slots, but you didn't know which one. And I think a career in comedy is like a Plunko game in a lot of ways, where if you stick with it, something good will happen.
Mm-hmm.
But is it going to be that world all expense paid trip around the world, or is it going to be like $25?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
something good will happen,
And some chicken wings. Yeah.
and you're going to land where you were meant to land. But it's very unpredictable, and you never know how those pegs are going to respond to the disc that's going down there, and where they're going to send it. And sometimes there are times where it looks like one is going to land in the like $25 thing, and then at the very last minute, it'll bounce over to the world trip thing.
Oh yeah. So okay, I'll here's what I agree, but I also think with that brick thing, here's the thing. So when I was on BET, I did like Comic View like 7 times or something like that, and I really stood out. I think physically, my description: white guy, BET, Black Entertainment Television. But I was funny, so it was like funny white guy, and then plus then I had like the bright red hair, so it's like, whoa, who's this guy? People are channel surfing. This thing's supposed to be on this channel. What? So it stood out. It's like the round brick that stood out, and then, thank God I usually delivered the goods, because it was like short sets, like 7 minutes. Boom, here we are. Snoop Dogg, bow wow. Bill Clinton. That's right, I'm back, biatch. So it stood out. It was funny. I was a round brick, so maybe it's like a brick going down Plunko. No, I don't know, but the
round brick. Well, a round brick has a better shot in the Plunko board than a brick does. A brick will get stuck.
So, so I don't know, like, or even with podcasting. So what we're doing now is pretty common. 2 guys talking comedy. That's not really going to stand out. But then when I look at, but I love it and it's entertaining. And for those that are watching and listening, thank you. We're going to keep doing it. But I do look at someone like, did you ever see any of Kevin Nealon's stuff? His podcast?
Before you continue, this is a very normal podcast, and one could say it is a square brick in a square hole. Until I tell everyone where the treasure is buried.
Ooh, I like that.
And that the clues have been hidden through this entire podcast.
Could it be road trip? You mentioned that earlier with 4th and B.
That could be one of the clues.
Could one of the clues be at 4th and B in downtown San Diego?
Possibly. If this is a real thing, yes.
This will be the episode. People are like, oh my God, this is incredible. It sounds like I
got to go back and listen from the beginning.
Pretty average podcast until you realize they were dropping clues the whole time. Oh my God.
It's a big treasure hunt.
No wonder they were spending so much time talking about a corn maze. There's clues in the corn maze. Yeah.
We have to get to the corn maze quick.
Oh, that'd be fun. Maybe we should do a podcast like that. Like the like that. What's it called? The Amazing Race? The Amazing Podcast.
Yeah.
But I was watching Kevin Nealon and his podcast. He doesn't just sit down and interview someone. They go on a hike and he has like a selfie stick and they're hiking and talking, and I don't know if you've seen that. But
easy for him because he's real tall.
Exactly. I know. He towers over his guests. He has great angles. It's like For me, it would be a nightmare. Hiking in general, I don't want any part of. And I don't think I want to do a gimmick type of. Not that that's a gimmick, but I know some people are like, "Once do one."
It's definitely a gimmick. It's a good one, but it's a gimmick. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. I was thinking of someone. I think they did a podcast like in a hot tub or something like that, or a steam room, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like that's.
No.
That's like,
Yeah.
And plus, it was a woman that had the show, so that's different, I guess.
Yeah.
But if it's a guy, it's extra creepy. Hey, I just start booking all these female guests. Hey, you want to be on my podcast? Can we do it in a jacuzzi? And
yeah, it's creepy no matter who you book, female or male.
That's true.
Real weird. Yeah. Real weird situation.
Oh, and then there was a podcast. Did you ever do it where they massage you as they interview you?
No, I thought about it. I almost contacted them about doing it, and then I was like, no, no one wants to see a big fat guy get a massage.
But maybe they do, and then the ratings go up through the roof, and then
or that would be the real nightmare. Is what if if that's all people want,
exactly.
and then I have to just be a fat guy getting massaged at every club. That's hard to do.
You're the round brick.
You have to set that up everywhere.
Yeah. Okay,
It has to be a yes. It has to be a legitimate massage. Do you want to come and do it or not?
Yeah.
Just every town that you go to.
Mike Black is back with his lotion and towels.
Yeah, yeah, that's no good.
Yeah. But see, that's
It's
what
a
I'm saying.
lot of work.
I'm thinking about it when I
If
said it.
that's your Gallagher thing,
Exactly.
like
Yeah, you do your set.
everyone. I know what you guys have really been waiting for, and then I have to get naked and
Yeah.
wait.
Other comics have a merch table by the door. I've got a massage table. You just.
Like Jeff Dunham, poor guy. Poor guy. He's rich.
I was just gonna say, poor guy.
He owns a Batmobile, but he would do that 10 minutes of stand up at the beginning. That was just him without the puppets, and the audience was that's all they cared about was when is he going to get those puppets out?
Bring out Peanut.
They're just barely listening.
Yeah. I don't know. I love stand up. It makes me think there's different types of stand up. Like during the week, you're doing I'm doing let me pop in here and do 10 minutes or 5 minutes or the shorter sets, which is okay because you got to get out there and
Sure.
you got to polish those bricks. You got to shuck that corn.
Yeah.
You got to, what I mean? You got to do that. But it's almost like what I really enjoy is that the jazz of a longer set because you can, like I said, you can go on one topic and then go somewhere else with it and bring it all back together. And I love that. That is so amazing.
I think there's a turnover that happens where you go from being that kid who's, like, I don't want to go back up there. I'm out of time, to feeling like every set you do, you're like, I wish I had a bit more time to talk to really get into this,
Yeah, to like flesh that idea out, and just and then it's kind of fun too, even when you get to the point where you're like, I'm just gonna throw out a couple of things. Like last night, I go, hey guys, I already gave you great stuff that I've been working on. I just want to give us some ideas and see if these are like.
Do you tell the audience that? I already gave you.
I think I did. I don't know. I don't know if I said it exactly like that, but I was like, hey, we had some laugh tonight, right? Okay, I have some ideas. I just want to see if, and then I just threw out some, and they were more like ideas rather than jokes. Because you don't want to do unworked, bad, unfunny jokes at the end because it's like, oh,
right.
Here's some puns. Good night, everyone. Yeah, then screw that. But it was the one of the ideas was what you and I were talking about this when I hate when I go to a public restroom to wash my hands and they have like the faucet is like this little short stubby sawed off faucet.
Stubby faucet.
And I'm trying to wash my hands
next to the back of the sink.
And so my knuckles keep I try not, and they keep touching the sink. I'm like, this is gross. And now I got to start all over again.
Yep. Each time you got to wash your hands all over again because I just know they lick the back of that area.
Yeah, you don't know if especially in public, gas station bathrooms, and you're like, I don't know if they're peeing in this. I don't know what they're doing in there, and I don't want to think about it. But like your fingers touch the thing, your knuckles, and I'm just like, so I put that out there last night, and sure enough, people are like, yeah. And it was just like,
can I tell you the worst combo in the world? That happened to me at a gas station.
Please do.
It's the stubby faucet, and then I didn't even think they still had this. But instead of a paper towel dispenser, it's a big cloth rag on a loop.
Oh my gosh!
That they just just find a clean place on the rag. Wipe your hands. There isn't a clean place. There's you pick between the urine color stain or the black stain.
Oh my gosh!
It was so gross. But that faucet thing is part of what's wrong with the world right now. Because I know that was done. They were like, we got to save some money on how much metal we put into these faucets. There's too much metal. Well, we could shorten down that sink part. You mean the part that keeps your hands away from the bag? Yeah, we shortened that down 3 inches. We're saving a ton of money on copper right there, and we'll tell everyone that's the new style. That's how sinks are now. All the cool kids have this kind of sink. Johnny Depp has a sink like this. Everybody, you gotta get you a sink like this kind, and then you get it, and you get calluses on your knuckles from trying to wash your hands.
Your hands are all
because it sucks.
I know. And
You
then when
know?
you're done, when you're done washing your hands, and I don't like air dryers. I think it's loud. Some of them have a certain pitch that hurts my ears, where it's like zzz, like way up there. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well,
And
now they have the even worse thing, the thing you dip your hands into
oh, screw that. Yeah, with the
that
ultraviolet
has like
rays or whatever.
a teeny little fan with a
Yeah.
bunch of holes in it.
And that's
And
and there's it's very narrow, so again, your hands are touching the sides of it. Like
yeah, your hands are always touching the sides of that, no matter what.
I love
You
it when
know, and I'm a
I
fat
love
guy. I have
yeah.
fatter hands, so
Oh.
they're definitely gonna touch. But no matter who you are, they're touching. And you know what? Well, you make fun of it, but Lenny Kravitz has this setup.
Exactly.
He's
Yeah.
got this exact hand dryer.
The
So
whole band of Weezer, they all have these kind of hand dryers.
yeah, and everyone. It seems like everyone else is on board completely. They're like, "What's the problem? You just use the stubby sink and you use the shitty hand dryer, and everyone loves it."
And then
what's your problem?
Yeah. And then to exit the restroom, I'm like, oh no, I love it when it's easy. You just it's a push door. I just push it and leave. You know,
Right.
I don't like when you. Oh no, I have to actually grab that handle. And you try to figure out how are you going to grab the handle if there's no paper towels around and.
Yeah. Or do I just stand there like an idiot and wait for someone else to open the door?
That's great when that happens.
Rush them.
Yeah,
you know?
you're like as right as they're coming in, you're like you're trying to slide past them.
Out of my way.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll use the bottom of my shirt. I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna do laundry tomorrow anyway, so I'll just use the bottom of my shirt on that doorknob.
What I like to do if they're out of paper towel or if they've gone completely to the air dryers or whatever, is go back out, and if it's easy to do at a movie place, but any place that has like a Starbucks in it or something like that, just walk over and grab a bunch of their paper napkins and start drying off my hands there. And I make a real big production of doing it. And it kind of like say something, please tell me not to use your paper towels, so that I can lay into you about how much your bathroom sucks.
Right.
you
right.
know.
I like when the businesses catch on, when the ones that do have the paper towels, they catch on like, oh, people like to dry their hands and then they want to open the door with their clean hands using the paper towel. So let's put a garbage can right here.
Yeah.
Because the ones that don't, there's all these paper towels that'll be piling up in the corner there. It's like, guys, just put a garbage can. People will be more than happy to throw it there.
Yeah, it's like you got to meet the public halfway on the public restroom. You go into those ones and they look like a war zone, and part of that is on dudes where like some guys are just crazy and they destroy a bathroom every time they go in it. But if you give them the tools to keep it clean, will for the most part keep it clean.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't really see graffiti like you used to either. I noticed
no, yeah, it's just not. Nobody cares. I think everyone finally realized, nobody cares about my graffiti.
Yeah. Occasionally you'll see stuff scratched into a toilet seat. You're like, what are you doing, dude? You're carving that into it.
Yeah, it's like, do you realize what you're touching to do that?
Exactly. You're bad marketing. No one's going to have a pleasant memory of your gang or whatever.
Yeah, your gang smells like poop. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, what I was saying about the stubby faucets is it's all like part of this like penny pinching sort of way of doing things. We're going to cut corners, and it just makes everything worse.
Right. And some of the Starbucks have done that where there'll be two bathrooms, but they're like, oh no, COVID. So you can only use one bathroom. You can't use the other bathroom. There's a bunch of chairs piled up. Can't use that bathroom.
Well, like a lot of furniture now is like really low to the ground. Like compared to where it used to be when we were a kid, like if you sat in any sort of chair, your lap was like flat straight across.
Yeah. Yep.
Like they were all designed that way. Now they're like, well, let's save some money on these chair legs and stuff like that. People don't care when they're sitting. We'll sit them real low. Well, that's great for the average person and short people. But for a tall person, it's a nightmare because their knees are up next to their head. They're sitting there with like, they're, all crunched up in this chair. For a fat person, it's torture. Because you're like, I don't know if my knees can hold until I get down in there. And then I have a whole other issue of getting back out of this chair, when it's time to leave. if there's a fire, I might be screwed.
I know, right?
No one's gonna help me out.
Help me out. Yeah. I got an idea for this podcast. I just thought of this right now. And I think you might be the right guy to do this. And I know I have a feeling you're going to crap on my idea at first, but here's what I want to do.
I usually do.
Okay. I want to think about, let's maybe name 3 things and they could be the most mundane thing. 3 things, almost like a gratitude list, but 3 things that made us happy this week. And I'll start.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
You're right. This is a terrible
idea. I know exactly. I know this is This is very this is positive energy. Like listen, and I know my friend's probably gonna like. I have a couple friends that they like more like negative, like shit talking, gossipy type podcasts, and they probably aren't gonna listen. Sure. They're gonna turn it off right now. So goodbye, Rems. Goodbye, Rems. I know you're listening. You're not gonna listen right now, but okay. Shout out to Rems. But
okay.
I was thinking about this. I recently purchased peanuts in the shell, like you'd see it like at a barroom saloon or a baseball game, and I forgot how fun that was. Just the act of like cracking those shells open and eating the peanuts, and how happy I get if you find a peanut that has not 1, not 2, but 3 peanuts in there, and occasionally you'll find one that has 4, and I'm like, man, I know it's so silly, but that makes me a little happier.
You don't have cable, do you?
Exactly.
You don't have any of the channels.
I like the peanuts, Mike. I know. You're like, dude, you got to discover video games. You got to discover there's a world.
There's a whole wide world out there beyond peanuts. I just see your parents going, Dan's being a little unruly. I give him a sack of peanuts. He'll be fine.
Whaley discovers the Cajun ones,
Like a friend of mine showed a picture of, he was just trying to be sweet, he goes, do you guys remember this game? And it was that old water tank with a little pump on it.
Oh.
The little colored rings would go up.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said, yeah, this was called like the water ring toss.
Yeah, water ring toss.
Like, I always called it the Simpleton's Aquarium.
They have the basketball one too. The same concept. You go like that, and then you press the trigger, and then the ball floats up and maybe makes it into the basket.
Yeah, and boy, did idiots love to just press that button and watch the pretty colors float around. And it kept them busy for hours.
And then you top it off with a day of peanuts. You might find 3.
Yeah. I had a great day today. I saw all the pretty colors, and I found a 4 peanut.
All right, the other 2 things that made me happy driving down here is when you get past like Irvine and the lanes all open up and you can actually drive faster than like 25 miles an hour and stopping every, So I like a nice open highway where I can just drive and listen to music and have the window down, and I love that. That's a good freaking.
Now you're
feeling.
An international comedian. Have you ever got to go on like the German Autobahn?
Oh no, I haven't. I haven't done that, but I've wanted to. Have you done it?
No. It looks cool though. Like it would be fun to do.
I think that. I wonder how many lanes that is. I've never looked into that. I remember I was really interested in that in the 80s. We had a German foreign exchange student. And I was like, "Have you ever been on the Autobahn?" And he's like, "It's a freeway." He wasn't too impressed with it, so I was like, "But it sounds amazing."
Yeah, you'd have to be in a good car, like in a cool, like James Bond kind of car,
Right. I think for a while they didn't have a speed limit in Montana.
I know for a long time, and I remember going on a trip with my parents through Montana. What would happen is they had a speed limit, but they didn't really care. They were very aware that it was like, it's Montana. People are going to want to just get through here, as fast as they can. And so
that's smart.
They pulled my dad over for speeding. And he goes, so what's the deal on the ticket? What do I need to go to court or something like that? And he goes, Oh no, it's Montana. Thanks you for visiting, and I'm going to write you a $5 courtesy ticket.
Mm.
And you get one of those. But if you get pulled over again, you might get a real ticket. And he said it depends, but he goes, your first ticket is $5.
Oh
And
wow.
thanks for visiting Montana, you know. And I was like, that's kind of a cool way of doing it, where they get a little, $5 kickback for letting you cut through their state, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're not jerks about it, you know.
Yeah, they. I just saw this article. It said Montana was once the last bastion of hot, nasty, badass speed. Where
Hmm.
I guess you had to do it within reason. It couldn't, for the, what I mean. You probably didn't want you speeding in the rain or at night or in the fog. But if it's sunny and there's no one around, and then, but then that
Yeah.
that kind of came to an end. It said around 1996, a guy was traveling 85 miles an hour, and then something like that. But yeah, so that was. I'm not really big into speed, to be honest with you. I don't really. I just want to drive without having to stop the car every minute.
Well, that's weird. And it's like the 10, most people are going about 85. The 10 in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That's about the average. They don't post an actual speed on the 10, but most people are going around 80, 85.
Yeah. Oh, third thing that makes me happy, and this is another car related one, is a great parking spot with where I need to be. like I love a great park. Like, in other words, if it's something I don't really need to be, like the mall, I don't mind finding parking that's not right by the front door. But if it's like a place I'm about to perform, I kind of want the car to be right there so I can, I don't know. I'm just,
Sure.
or like at the hotel here, I was able to park right in front of the hotel, great parking spot. That's what I'm talking about. I don't want to, I don't want to do a show and have my car like a mile away.
Yeah, so great parking was the third thing you're happy about. Let me just make sure I've got this right in my head.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you were happy about?
Peanuts. Peanuts.
Sometimes getting four peanuts in a show.
Yeah.
The second thing you were happy about again was
being able to drive without a lot of bumper to bumper traffic.
Without a lot of traffic, and the third thing you were happy about was
parking.
Not booking a really great guest for your podcast, or being paid to do what you love as a performer. What really makes you happy more than anything is, again, parking.
Yeah.
Getting a good parking spot.
What if when it's your turn? What are you happy about, Mike? Well, I just bought low and sold high. I earned $8 million in the stock market this week. I'm happy about that. I'm happy about peanuts.
Which means I'll never have to do this show again.
Exactly. You're like, I'm happy this podcast is about to end. I'm happy. Mike, you're the best. Do you have three things that make you happy, or do you want to save it, or do you want to?
No, of course I do.
Oh.
Three things. One of them tonight. Well, you guys won't know about it, but it doesn't matter. It's sold out already. That I'm at the Comedy Store in the original room at midnight, and I've been doing like Halloween material all month. And so I get to do the show on Devil's Night leading into Halloween. So that's a cool thing.
That's so cool.
The other thing is getting to see old movies on a big screen is always a fun thing for me. Like if it was like a big cinematic film and getting to see it like the way it was intended to be seen. This month I got to see Blade on a big screen again. And
cool.
The opening fight sequence in that movie is one of the best of all time. And half the audience had never seen it. So they were all like super, super into it. So that was fun. And then on Halloween proper, for the first time, and I've lived in LA a long time and have always wanted to do it, I'm getting to go see The Nightmare Before Christmas live with Danny Elfman singing as the Jack Skellington part. And I had already got my ticket just from that because I'd heard about him doing it in the past, and I'm a big fan of his music. And I was like, I'm going no matter what. And they had him on the radio, interviewed about it, and they gave out like a discount code, and I was like, nice. So I got a good seat. Then after that, I guess a lot of other people were like, that does sound like fun, because they added to voice Sally for it, Billie Eilish. So she's going to do it. Then they have like, you're familiar with that movie, right?
Yes.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. You know, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, the little rotten kids that are sent to kidnap Santa Claus.
Yeah.
They have those parts open still at that time. So I don't know who's playing one of them, but the other two are Pee Wee Herman and Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be a great show, I think, and so I'm really looking forward to that.
What's the date on that?
That's tomorrow on Halloween.
Oh, nice.
There might still be tickets. I don't know, but
I was going to say the next time you're on, let's hear all about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. Yeah. Mike, you're the best, man, and I want to get you on before Thanksgiving because we got a Thanksgiving special I want to put you on.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mike. Mike Black is back. Look him up on all social media. And you guys, thanks again for listening to the Pocket Party Podcast. And Mike, have a great show tonight. And
you too.
I will, and I'll talk to you soon. And I hope you get good parking, no traffic. And next time you have
you
peanuts,
too.
I hope you have 3 or 4
it's
peanuts.
Very important that you get those things.
All right, and very important that I get those things. I know. You're the best, buddy. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to the Pocket Party.